Of course, they're gonna come at us really hard for that first 72 hours to make sure we stop posting or at least get us flagged from being able to go live so nobody thinks about the details of the fact that we just watch Angie Stone get moved around in real time on her son's birthday. I think it's time for me to call my gematria guy. I think it's time for me to do a live about the numbers.
The numbers make no sense.
It is wrong. And I'm tired of seeing us struggle and go through things and work hard and not reap the benefits of what we were supposed to reap.
Okay, so it looks like fans might have been onto something when they claimed that there was more to Angie Stone's passing than we knew, because multiple people in the industry have stepped up to reveal the shady circumstances surrounding her death. And there is a lot surrounding the situation that we didn't know. See, in the weeks leading up to her sudden passing, Angie revealed that she had found out some shocking and disappointing secrets about a very powerful person in the industry, and she claimed that she was going to battle with some of the most important people in the industry, and it looks like that statement painted a target on her back. For a while, fans thought we were tripping or maybe doing too much with the speculation that Angie's passing was planned, but Jaguar Wright and Tyler Perry just stepped up to reveal that Angie was, indeed, taken out because she was about to spill some very nasty details on some higher-ups, and it wasn't exactly an accident like we were told. So, what exactly do Jaguar and Tyler know about this case? And did Angie really confide in Tyler Perry before she passed? Let's break it down. Angie's passing was so shocking and so sudden that fans were convinced that there was more to it than we were being told. Now, I know that hundreds of people unfortunately pass away in car accidents every single day, but there was something about this particular case that just didn't add up. Like the fact that she had been involved in one accident a few minutes before getting hit by a semi-truck, and she was the only casualty in the whole thing. Even worse, it didn't even seem like anybody else involved had serious injuries, and that's what raised red flags, because the odds of that happening are very slim. Well, Jaguar Wright was quick to hop on the drama when she claimed that Angie's death had allegedly been a sacrifice because she had gotten in way over her head when she went against some of the most powerful people in the industry who were not about to sit back and let her expose them.
What do they want?
What do you mean? They want their payment. They want their pound of flesh. They want you to keep feeding the system. Doesn't matter how hard she worked for it. That's not her money. That's their money. That's what they do. They've been robbing me for years.
Yep.
They stole more money from me than they stole from Angie. I can't stop thinking about Nick Carter and Aaron Carter. I can't stop thinking. Brother in the Illuminati, brother not in the Illuminati. Brother in the Illuminati commits all kinds of heinous crimes against women, and he's okay, but his brother's gone. And all he wanted was his money so he could push on. Like, how many of these things have to happen in front of the public? Of course they're going to attack, I'll be sure. Of course they're going to attack me. Of course they're going to attack anybody who's interested in the truth. Of course they're going to come at us really hard for that first 72 hours to make sure we stop posting or at least get us flagged from being able to go live so nobody thinks about the details of the fact that we just watch Angie Stone get moved around in real time on her son's birthday.
When Jaguar made this comment, fans started to add 2 and 2, and it didn't take long to realize that the math wasn't mathing. On March 1st, 2025, Angie and her team were on their way back from a Mardi Gras concert in Alabama, riding in a Sprinter van. They had been working on a new project, filming in the area, but decided to take a break to enjoy the festivities. The trip was supposed to be a quick getaway, a chance to unwind before getting back to business. As they made their way down Interstate 65, everything seemed normal. Until it wasn't. Out of nowhere, the van lost control and flipped over. The 9 people inside were shaken up, but surprisingly, none of them suffered life-threatening injuries. But before they could even fully grasp what had happened or call for help, things took a devastating turn. A semi-truck, moving at full speed, suddenly slammed into the wrecked Sprinter, crushing it on impact. The force of the crash was catastrophic, and tragically, Angie didn't make it. She was the only one who lost her life that night, leaving her team, loved ones, and fans in complete shock. At first, it seemed like a heartbreaking accident, just a tragic series of unfortunate events. But as time passed, people started looking at the details a little closer. Something about the situation didn't sit right. Questions started swirling, theories began to form, and soon enough, what first seemed like a freak accident turned into something much more complicated. See, Only a few weeks before the tragedy, Angie had hinted at an upcoming legal battle on her Instagram page, writing, "I've just discovered something that's been hidden in the dark for too long. My publishing was stolen. And guess what? I know exactly who did it, but don't get it twisted. I'm coming for you, all the dogs who thought they could take what's mine. Trust, I'm ready." Just like Jamie Foxx said, what had happened was, well, now it's my turn to share my testimony. It's a new chapter, and you can bet the truth is coming to light. Stay tuned. This whole situation has people seriously side-eyeing what really happened to Angie. It's been weeks since that tragic crash took her life, and yet, nothing. No investigation, no suspect, no mugshots, no press conferences, just radio silence. It's almost like she passed, and the world was supposed to just move on without asking any questions. Or maybe, just maybe, someone is making sure those questions never get answered. Because, let's be real, the timing is suspicious. Angie had just started calling out UMG and Clive Davis, and then she's gone? That's not just bad luck, that's too convenient. And if you think that's wild, just wait, because the most chilling part of this story comes straight from a witness who barely made it out alive. According to this witness, Angie wasn't killed in the initial crash. That's right, she made it out of that van alive. In fact, a woman on the scene actually helped her out of the wreckage. But before she could get to safety, a man in the semi-truck came out of nowhere and hit her. And if that wasn't enough, multiple people in the area claimed they heard loud popping noises right before the accident.
People are reporting hearing pop, pop, pop before the crash. Sounds like we may have a case of road rage. Either one, road rage, or two, you know what. Now, it seems that the pop, pop, pop may have been gunshots to the tires, and that will cause the van to lose control.
Then, out of nowhere, a video started making the rounds, featuring a woman claiming she was the one who helped Angie. According to her, she and her daughter had been driving down the highway when they noticed the overturned van on the side of the road. Something told her to stop and check it out, so she pulled over to see what was going on. But when she got closer, she was not prepared for what she saw. Inside the van, people were screaming for help, panicked, injured, but alive. And yes, that included Angie. She was still breathing, still fighting. So if Angie survived the initial crash, what really happened after that? Because if the official story was already looking shady, this just blew the whole thing wide open.
Flashers were on, so we slowed down some, and that's when I noticed there was an overturned vehicle in the fast lane. And it looked like it just happened. I pulled over, I put my flashers on, and I told my daughter to stay in the car. And I ran over, it was a van, and I ran over, and there were so many people in this van, and they were just trying to get out. And I asked if they'd called the cops, and they said, we're just trying to get out. And they were helping this woman out off the side of the van, and I grabbed her hand and I helped her get down, and she seemed out of it, and I was holding her hand and she was wobbling around.
She managed to get Angie out of the van, and for a brief moment it seemed like things might be okay. They were trying to figure out what to do next, how to get help, how to keep everyone safe. But then, out of nowhere, the woman felt something rush past her. Before she could even process what was happening, a massive truck, seemingly appearing out of thin air, crashed straight into Angie. And just like that, she was gone. This was weird on so many levels, because imagine being pulled from a crash, only to be struck again moments later. The math is not mathing, and the more details that come out, the more it looks like this wasn't just some freak accident.
You've got to sit down. And then the next thing I know, I flew, and I fell down to the ground, and it felt like something not ran over me, but brushed over me. Like something just swiped over my body. And I got up, and I could hear screaming, and I just focused in on one screaming, and it was my daughter. And all I could do was run across the highway and tell her to get back in the car.
But if you think this isn't suspicious enough, there's more. Because according to someone who was in the original van with Angie, the driver was driving at a very high speed. And when Angie told him to slow down, he refused, and instead started to drive even faster. According to reports, Sharita Murphy, who was one of 8 people in the van with Angie Stone, expressed gratitude on her Facebook page. "We are blessed to be alive." She credits Angie Stone's calm demeanor during the ordeal, alleging the van driver's extremely fast driving caused Angie Stone to request he slow down, but he failed to do so, resulting in the van flipping 3 times before being struck by an 18-wheeler and claiming the life of Angie Stone. Plus, the fact that Angie was so outspoken about calling out the people who did her dirty has fans giving this entire situation a major side-eye. Could her sudden and tragic passing really be just an accident, or does it have something to do with those unpaid royalties and the legal battle she was gearing up for? Because let's be real, this wouldn't be the first time an artist mysteriously lost their life after standing up to the industry's most powerful players. The music business has an ugly history of silencing those who refuse to fall in line. Countless artists have spoken about the shady dealings, the stolen money, and the threats that come when someone dares to fight back. And Angie? She was never one to stay quiet. She was calling people out, pulling back the curtain on the kind of corruption most artists are too afraid to speak on, and making it clear she wasn't going to let them take what was rightfully hers. She was gearing up for a legal battle, and then, just like that, she's gone? The timing alone is enough to make people pause. And then there's the actual crash, because that's another thing that's just not adding up. A Sprinter van flips over on a highway. 9 people inside, yet somehow only Angie doesn't make it? Nobody is saying there should have been more casualties, but let's be honest, the math isn't mathing. How does everyone else make it out with just injuries, but she's the only one who doesn't survive? It almost feels too specific, too calculated. And if that wasn't enough to raise eyebrows, there's another theory that takes things to an even darker place. Some people are now questioning if Angie may have already been gone before the accident even happened. That speculation alone takes this from a suspicious tragedy to something much more sinister. At this point, the lack of answers is making everything look even shadier. No official investigation, no statements, no suspects, just silence. And in the entertainment industry, when things go quiet after something major happens, that usually means someone, somewhere, doesn't want the truth to come out. But wait, there's more. Because just when folks thought this situation couldn't get any messier, Tyler Perry stepped up at Angie's funeral a few days ago and went off on the industry. And when I say off, I mean he did not hold back. During his speech, he made it very clear that Angie was done dirty while she was alive. He called out the way the industry mistreated her, how they tried to silence her, and how they refused to give her the credit and compensation she deserved. And if that wasn't enough, he also seemingly confirmed what Angie had been saying all along, that she was owed money, and that they had been robbing her blind for years. Now, let's pause right there, because Tyler Perry is not some random person off the street. He's deep in the industry, so for him to stand up at her funeral in front of everyone and basically co-sign what Angie had been fighting for, that's huge. And it makes the timing of her death look even more suspicious. Because let's be real, why is it that artists only seem to get their flowers after they're gone?
Y'all gotta forgive me because I'm angry at the way she was treated. I did not know all the things that she was going through. Recently, I found out because I'm not on Instagram. I'm not being hooked and manipulated by an algorithm telling me what to think and how to feel. So I don't see everything. But to think that this woman was in the business for all of these years, and there's a difference between performing because you want to and performing because you have to. All of those years, all of those songs, all of that money that was owed to her, where is it? It's wrong. It is wrong. And I'm tired of seeing us struggle and go through things and work hard and not reap the benefits of what we were supposed to reap. But you got to be careful when you start mistreating people, especially children of God, because the Bible says, touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm. And I'm going to tell you something, this woman was a prophet. She prophesied and preached her own eulogy. What am I talking about? In her song, No More Rain in This Cloud, she says, my sunshine has come. And I'm all cried out. There's no more rain in this cloud. And many of you may not know this, but I'm a pilot. And when you are a pilot, the first thing you study is the weather. And I learned about clouds. And what a cloud is particles, air and particles. And when the rain gets in that cloud and the particles get too heavy, it becomes to rain. It drops to the ground. It falls. It is just like our souls. We hold so much in. We hold so much pain. We hold so much that it has to come out of our eyes as tears. But the beauty of what she was talking about is when a cloud has no more tears, it dissipates. It's gone. But if you listen to that song again, there's a part that I want you to really, really listen to. She said, what goes around comes around.
Why is it that their truth only starts coming to light after they can no longer speak for themselves? Tyler's speech might have been emotional, but to a lot of people, it also felt like confirmation that something foul happened to Angie, and the people responsible are still out there. It's truly heartbreaking to think that anyone could be treated this way, let alone someone who poured years of her life into the industry, helping to build up other artists and leaving behind a legacy that deserved so much more respect. Angie wasn't just another name in the game. She was a force, a talent, and a woman who refused to be pushed around. And yet, in the end, she was treated like she was disposable. But as tragic as that is, things take an even darker turn when you hear what people are saying now. Because according to some very unsettling rumors, that truck that came out of nowhere and ended Angie's life, it might not have been an accident at all. There are whispers, allegedly, that the crash may have been orchestrated, a planned hit disguised as a tragic accident. And look, I'm not saying this is 100% confirmed, so don't come for me. But when you consider the timing, the missing money, the lack of an official investigation, and now this, the whole situation is looking really suspect. And let's not forget, this wouldn't be the first time we've seen something like this. The industry has a long history of making problems disappear, especially when money and power are on the line. So, was Angie just another victim of the machine? Or is there more to this story that they don't want us to know? If you think it couldn't possibly get worse, well, it's about to, because according to reports, the driver of the truck that struck and killed Angie has disappeared into thin air and is nowhere to be found. The source said, "Howdy, I used to work at the same trucking company as the fellow who ran into the Sprinter van that hit Ms. Stone while she was being tended to on the side of the road. She was thrown a few yards due to impact. I don't think he is going to return to work, honestly. This thing has tormented him, and he's not responding to the company's texts or phone calls. My wife reached out to his wife to offer support after we learned he turned in the rig and left. My former boss says his explanation was that he came upon the wreck too fast to make an adjustment to dodge the wreck. As I look at all the details that I have at my disposal, something just doesn't sound right about this. I'm surprised he hadn't been drinking, because there is an extensive history of that. Well, I'm not acting as if I'm Perry Mason with the wherewithal to solve a case. Just thought I'd reach out. What's more, reports also have it that the driver's route from Mobile to Birmingham didn't necessitate a stop near mile marker 162 unless detoured or directed. FMCSA data shows no mechanical issues reported on the Freightliner prior to March 1st. So what exactly was the driver doing on that route? And why has he gone into hiding? There seems to be some high-level cover-up going on here, and fans are starting to wonder if we're ever going to get any sort of answers to our questions about Angie's passing. There is a lot that doesn't add up here. But do y'all really believe that Angie was taken out? Or do you think that people are reading too much into this? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and then check out this next video.